I don't want to talk to you about Congo the same way that everybody has been talking to you about Congo, because it's very interesting when I've known the Congo wars for 30, 40 years, right? So, you know, to me, whenever there's an emotional moment where, nowadays the war is not just the war on the ground, it's also the war of information, the war of who will create the most tweets, manifestations in the streets, etc., put their flags up, etc. And people like me who are public figures, we tend to get pressured into having to say not something. We have to say the same thing everybody's saying. And, everybody's angry, everybody's emotional, everybody's, from their sofa in the French or the Belgium suburbs, they're saying we are at war, but they're not taking the plane to go and fight with the people who are paid $100 to go die. No, they're on their phones that are made with the minerals that are the reasons of the war, and they're just tweeting and they're posting stuff. And me, I have a different issue. I have two issues. My first issue is that I'm too smart. My second issue is I know way too much from the inside because of who I am. So when I repost stuff because you have to repost stuff to make people happy. But in reality, when you know what has been happening the last 30 years, like me, and you cannot really say it because you're a public figure, you want to protect yourself and your family and the people are listening to you, that sometimes some information you cannot give to everybody. What up, Natalie? What up, Bambino? You end up in my situation. What up, Sony Star? You end up in my situation where you're like, okay, what do I say? Do I say the same thing as everybody? And I cry and I yell and I'm angry or do I do what I usually do? I talk. I try to find a different angle to talk about the situation. And a great thing about me, what up, Dalia? A great thing about me, a great thing. One thing about me is, well, I know a lot of people who were actually participating in this whole dispute between a few different forces about a particular region that is full of minerals. And well, my whole family went in exile at a point because of that. So, interestingly, I was dining with my dad 2 days ago. And he told me it's 1997 all over again. Back when my dad was under Mobutu, everything you guys are seeing now is exactly what happened back in those days. It's the same story that happened the same way, or maybe even worse. 1997, the soldiers said to themselves, it's not worth dying for that. All the weapons they had, they didn't have the will, and they just left the weapons on the field and they fled. And the people, so Uganda, I guess, Rwanda, and the different forces that were on one part, they took Goma. After taking Goma, they continued the route to Bukavu. Once they had that, all they had to do was march to Kinshasa with the person that they chose to control the country for them. And at that time, that person was Kabila the father. And then Mobutu went to negotiate on a boat with South Africa, what was the ultimate humiliation, and negotiations didn't go well. He was sick already. He then removed himself to Morocco, and once he was in Morocco, he died there. Rest in peace. And interestingly, Kagame was already the person who came back to power of Rwanda, took control of Rwanda, and was one of the people calling the shots that put Kabila in Kinshasa. The only problem is, and then after that, Mobutu became what we call a pestiféré. Nobody wanted to help him, and the friends of yesterdays became the people who didn't care of that day. And then he died a paria in Morocco. And after that, in power was Laurent Désiré Kabila, who, once he was there, didn't do none of the things he agreed to do with the people who gave him the possibility to be where he was. And strangely, he got murdered by his own bodyguard, who disappeared, vanished. All right. So, then after that, his son arrived. I mean, they put it out of a hat, like a magic trick, and boop, they put him there. And listen, things were not great, but they were okay. And then, so I'm thinking carefully of what I'm going to say, because I don't want you to know some things that you don't need to know. There's some things that I keep for private conversation. So there's a point where negotiations were made 7 years ago, or whenever Kabila's reign ended. And again, the person who was supposed to do the things he was supposed to do didn't respect his engagement. And the corruption that we've seen is unprecedented. People were corrupt before, but now listen, the people that you want to send, the young people that you want to send, and you want to say, vive les FARDC, they're getting paid $100 a month to go die. And you just want to post stuff on Instagram. I'm sorry. I would tell them go home. For $100, it's not worth it. They should be paid $5,000 a month. Why they paid $100 a month and why they don't receive rations to eat? Because all these money is being taken away by the people who are supposed to receive that money, and then because of corruption. So again, listen, I'm trying to say stuff without saying stuff. Bear with me. The same people who put LDK in power back in 97 are the same people calling the shots again. The same exact people in the different countries around are telling the person that they helped put in power, you, again, didn't do what you have to do. It's time for you to get removed. So they are repeating the exact scenario. 90, 97, all over again. Soldiers, underpaid, are saying it's not worth it. They leave the weapons on the field, they remove their uniforms, they put themselves in the population give them clothing, and they pretend that they are farmers because it's not worth it. Mercenaries, we heard about mercenaries from Romania who are supposed to be paid $10,000 a month. Even them, the 10,000, there's a part that is taken by the corrupt people that are there right now. And they're like, it's not worth it. Let me go home. Fuck it. That's where we are. And now they took Goma. Next stop, Bukavu. Next stop, negotiations. And you are negotiating the same way as Zelensky is negotiating, from a standpoint of Russia winning. And what they will tell you is, where do you want to exile? And if you don't want to exile, how do you want to die? And then they will put somebody who will find a solution where everybody makes money, because all these people, Trump is in power now, and Trump doesn't care, but Elon and Apple, they do care. They need the coltan, the tin, all these things. Listen to what Trump told Zelensky now. Said, hey, all this money that Biden gave you, you're gonna have to pay in rare materials that are under Ukraine. Because it's not about the raped women. It's not about the soldiers. It's not about the Congolese people or the Rwanda people. It's about the mega corporation that are making money. You guys can hate Rwanda how much you want, or defend it how much you want, and fight between each other. It doesn't matter. The same way that in the east side of Ukraine, Ukrainian Russians are fighting with Russians and Western Ukrainian. In the end, what really matters to the United States of America is the trillions of dollars worth of rare minerals that are under the ground. So if you look at all this without an emotional point of view, the same way I'm looking at it, because I've been through the whole shit. I've been in exile with my family. I've seen my family suffer. I've hated Congo for years before coming back and finding love again because of the whole same shit. Now that I look at it with an adult point of view, and also knowing what happened the last 7 years from the inside, and I cannot tell you because I'm the son of, I'm public figure, blah, 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 blah. So those who have my number will call me and I will tell them the real thing. Anyway, for you guys, at the Trump inauguration, Apple was there. Google was there. Microsoft was there. Tesla was there. And all of them are part of the big AI revolution. And to do the AI, you need graphical cards. To do the graphical cards, to run all these billions of dollars of operation, you need coltan. Where is coltan? In Congo. So the situation has to be simplified for them, and the Americans, they don't care about who dies. All they know is, hey, listen, what's going on out there? The guy that we nice, it was not the right guy. Yeah, it was not. Remove them then. We can remove him? Yeah. Do what you have to do. Okay, cool. Goma, Bukavu, 1997, all over again, because back in the 60s, the CIA put Mobutu in power because they needed the region to be stable. That was the reason. They needed him to be there instead of a Lumumba that was a communist. So the Americans, they were like, yep, we need our guy there, and everything has to stay stable. So he stays stable for a certain time. Then he got too rich, started having velleities, had to remove him. Called their boys the small countries that are super armed. It's the same thing with the Middle East and the small country out there. And it's the same thing in Ukraine. It's the same playbook. And that's exactly what you're seeing. And I'm not going to say no name, but some people from Congo they were invited at the Trump inauguration. And a lot of people are in the shadows repeating everything that happened in 1997. And they are controlling the people that you are seeing, the rebels. And I don't know if they will go and they will succeed in their operation, but personally, I can see it clear as day. Somebody gave the order. The mining companies, the Glencore, the sister countries from the US, Israel, etc. They were like, yo. This region need to be stabilized. Do what you have to do to remove these guys. And yeah, listen, you the public can continue to yell about what you yell about and do the manifestation, etc. Listen, there are a lot of exactions. There's a lot of things that are going on. I'm just giving you a side note of what is really happening. The emotional part, it works too. Listen, it's not one narrative against the other, but the real geopolitical things that are happening in the back, it's this. And for the Americans, what they want is stability. Everything else, it's not their problem. So I hope I didn't say too much, and I hope I said enough for you to understand. Sorry, listen, if I was a politician, but I'm not. So I'm just gonna sing some songs, all right? But yeah, it's 1997 all over again. That's all you need to know. And then you do what you want with it. Now, I'm gonna play you a nice song, and I'm gonna go watch some YouTube videos. Ezekiel, I know. So Ezekiel says, does Kabila have to come back again? Well, he doesn't need to. He just needs to be part of the team of people who will choose who they put there. But whoever takes power is going to be controlled by these people. Just like in 1997. I'm curious to know. My nephew, sometimes you have to focus on music. MJ, so Americans want stability to be able to get the resources they need from the region. Exactly. And they will get it from the people who are organized and who they know they can trust. Which are, listen, let me not talk about Congo. I'm not talking to you from what my point of view, all right? I'm talking to you from the way the Americans, they view things. In the Middle East, you have oil, gas. Under Gaza, on the seashores of Gaza, you have a lot of gas. And all around there, you have a lot of oil, right? So for the Americans, the Israelis are the ones that are organized and that are a democratic society from their point of view. For them, Saudi Arabia more or less too, and for them, everybody else is savages who are mounting camels and are being terrorists, etc. That's their point of view. So they arm the small country that is organized and that they are in alliance with to control the whole region. That's it. Because they don't want to go there. But they send all the weapons and yeah, you guys take care of everything. All we want is what is under the ground to go from your shores and go to us. And we will protect you for that. So you are the cop in the region. Take care of all these people. So if they could remove that little Gaza Strip and make it like a place where the thing could go and directly, it would be amazing. But world population would not like it. But they would love to do this. In Congo is the same thing. Rwanda is smaller, more organized, less corrupted, and more reliable from their point of view. From their point of view, Congolese leaders are always, they say something, then they do the opposite, and every time we put somebody there, he always betrayed whatever he said he would do. And they drink and they fuck and they just dance, and they're not serious people, those Bantu people. That's how they view it. Well, that's how they view it. Or that's their experience from all the leaders that they put there or they help put there. We are not serious. But the same guy that has been there since he returned from exile, he's been serious. The country, look at this, it's clean, it's done. We do business with them. The coltan goes there, goes to the port there, it arrives to us, everything works. From their point of view, it makes sense that we stabilize the region and you guys take care of the whole thing, and let's try to make everybody have their share. Now the problem is, when everybody has their share, Rwanda will take a lot of this money and modernize the country. Train their armies, etc., etc. Congo, they will take their share and put it in their pockets. Instead of taking some of that money, give 5,000 a month to your army, you will give 100. Because the rest of the 4,900 is in your pocket to buy a house in Belgium. So the Americans, listen, they have spies everywhere. They know what you do. They're like, these guys are not serious. All right, let's try with this one. Again, let's kill him. Boom. All right, he has a son. Let's put him there. All right. Well, listen, things were cool with him. Things were cool with him But then Biden arrived. It was like, yo, it's time to go. Yeah, but everything is fine. It's time to go. Listen, the people hate you. Listen, the same people that used to hate him, they want him to come back now. They're like, oh, finally, it was better when he was here. Now, we had a nice transition. We tried a new person, and there was a deal that was made. And these guys, they didn't respect the deal at all. So it's time to remove them and put somebody new. Listen, if I was me, if it was me, you guys would hate me because I would do what is right for the people to stop being killed. And what is right is to let everybody has a little bit of, control. Secure the whole region. Give a little bit to Uganda, give a little bit to Rwanda, I know it's unpopular, but at least the people stop dying. But nobody cares about the people. And the Americans, you think they care about the people? Please. What they care about is when is the minerals arriving to us? Because the only two places in the world where you have coltan is Congo and China. And China is about to beat the Americans with the AI thing, with the deep blue sea, forgot the name. So the AI race has started. The crypto race has started. All this is electronic warfare, and you need to control those minerals. You guys can cry how much you want about the populations. These people don't care. For them, it's just numbers. They don't care. So they will do what has to be done, remove who has to be removed, and give the control of this country to who they believe should have it. I wish I could be more clear, but I can't. I know too much, and who has my number can send me a WhatsApp. Gino Photographe, I'm good, thanks. Anyway, diplomacy is not easy. Oh, listen, geopolitics is not easy. Keki Media, what up? Oh, DeepSeek. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. It is what it is. Listen, put some likes, my people. Black Free Thinker, what up? China already has the USA beat in the soft power game. Yep. Listen, we are entering a world of blocks. We are entering a world of multi-polar activity where it's gonna be I'll send you a voice note, MJ, afterwards with the real version. So as I was saying, it's a multipolar world where you're gonna have the BRICS on one side, you're gonna have the Russians, the Chinese, the Indians, and the Americans. And it used to be just the Americans on top of the food chain and then everybody else. And now the playing field is starting to level where you have some real competition that is coming. And it continues to be one planet with the same resources for everybody, and everybody has always understand this from the beginning of humanity. The people have always been fighting for the resources, whether it is tea, gold, etc., coltan, metal, wood, opium. It's always the same thing. It's always about the resources. The Europeans were fine in their countries, but the gold was out there in the Americas. So they start going there with their boats, and they start discovering places that were already with people in there. It's always been about the resources. So I could go and I could even have started this talking about how the east of Congo, before the Belgium, when Germany lost like that whole region, Rwanda, Burundi, all this part was German, and then it got cut, and some parts were also cut from Rwanda, put in Belgium, Congo. Then the Belgians also took control of Rwanda, and that's how all these problems begun. And some people might even say, from the Rwanda point of view, that the regions where they are mining belong to them, the same way as Israel is saying this about the north and south, and they want expansion. Like, this is nothing new. This is nothing new about the world. It was the same thing in Kosovo. Ukraine is the same thing. Territorial battle about minerals is nothing new. It's nothing new, but you have to try to understand these issues not from an emotional point of view, but more from a geopolitical and historical point of view, and understand what is really going on. And then, once you know a little bit more, you're like, oh, okay. Damn. Shit. And then you become like me. That's a problem. You don't really want to post nothing because you understand what is going on. And once you understand that it's way more complicated than you think, and then you just post because if you don't post, people are going to come and yell at you. So yeah. Gilo Photograph, do you speak Lingala? Yeah, a little bit, sometime, when I have to. But I understand very well. All right, my people. It is what it is. Exactly after the First World War. It was the first, yeah. It was after the first. They just, what up, Lumen? They just divided people like Ivory Coast and Burkina. It was Burkina? I think it was that. It was called Haute Volta, Basse Volta. You had you just have to look at how the world was divided. There's a lot of land that were just cut in two because of people that had nothing to do with these lands just decided to share between themselves the different land. And when they gave back the independence in the 60s, well, then a lot of people started becoming little chieftains of the different parts of lands. And it's not just people who are trying to defend their countries. There's a lot of people who want to control the places where the mine rolls are. And whoever controls and do a deal with the US is rich. So everybody wants control. It's simple as that. And the US have the people that they want to deal with because They know. So you guys can cry as much as you want about, yeah, but it's our country. They don't care. And it's going to be the same thing with Ukraine. At a point, they're going to lose part of their territory because they're going to be a negotiation between people that were not fighting. The million of people who died in this war or got wounded, nobody will care about them in the US and Russian when they will negotiate. And yeah, Trump will be like, yo, listen, it's a business negotiation. Putin, what do you want? Yo, listen. Yeah, listen, I want this, this, and this, and this. Leave me alone. I don't want no NATO, no thing, and no them being in Europe, all that stuff. They stay neutral. And Trump will be, all right, cool. In exchange, can you do this, this, this? Can you come back to SWIFT? I don't know if I want to do this. They will negotiate. And yeah, listen, everybody who died for this, they will be like, damn, we got fucked. And it's the same thing here too. And everywhere in reality. But yeah, listen, one day when I come back to Paris and I organize my next dinner, I'll have better explanation. My pleasure, Nasta. I wish I could be more explicit, but then you would understand that I'm a CIA agent. I read that Australia, Canada, and 3 other countries want to create their own economic trade bloc too. Of course. And it makes sense to be more geographic in the world of today. And listen, I would not want to play a game where my competition is the creator of the game. And that the dollar is the reserve that is also owned by the US, and they can print as much as they want because then the whole game isn't fair. They should not be able, if it's the world reserve, they should not be able to print as they need. And that was the deal when we gave our gold to them in Bretton Woods in 48, I believe, or whenever it was. There was some deals and stuff. And then the US was supposed to be pegged to the gold that everybody sent there. And then one day they said, the gold is, the US dollar is pegged to the US dollar. So how do we know how much it's worth? Well, it's worth what we tell you. And yeah, we control SWIFT, we control the whole market, we decide the price of materials, everything is done in Wall Street, and that's it. And we can bully everybody we want. And yeah, Angola, you're buying too much stuff in Portugal, boom, remove you from SWIFT because of whatever. We can decide that you're funding terrorism and etc. That's the world where we are, where the US abused their position. And now people are saying that we don't want to play the game anymore. So the BRICS is creating their own thing. And yeah, listen, the euro was supposed to be that. But then everybody got scared of the US. But listen, the European countries, they also resent the US in reality, because sometimes they want to do something for themselves, and the US comes and say, oh, tariffs. Listen, go listen to Trump a little more. Like, go listen to what he says for real. And you will be like, oh shit. Listen, these people just want to stay on top of the food chain, and the other ones want to escape the domination. It's as simple as that. It's nothing else. And the Americans will say, who's the good ones, who's the bad ones. If you're part of the bad ones, human rights, etc., don't matter anymore, because you're part of the bad ones. So we can do whatever we want, destroy you, whatever. If you're part of the good one, the allies, you have to do what we say. If not, we cannot protect you. Simple as that. So that was the last 70 years. And the way the world works and the way empires work, if you look well, the empires only last 70 years. Roman Empire, Dutch Empire, English Empire, etc., etc. It's usually 70 years, and then it crumbles from inside. And then there's a new one. There's usually a war or something, and then a new one arrives. That's exactly how the American Empire started. They watched the Europeans fight each other with the Germans, the whole World War II. They were waiting on the side once everybody was tired. Actually, the Russians are the ones who saved everybody, and then they lost. They paid a real human price, and then after that, the Americans did the Normandy, and that's when the German capitulated, and then the US said, seems like nobody has money anymore. Water, somebody? US dollars? And that's how they got power. So once you understand all that, well, you prepared. All right.